Good evening, everyone. As you may already know, my name is Destiny Bingham. I'm from Camden, New Jersey, and I'll be graduating this May with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Psychology and Urban Education. So I don't really know where to begin. The fact that I'm standing up here speaking to you tonight is very surreal. I mean, just 5 years ago, I never thought I would be just a couple of weeks away from graduating from one of the top universities in the world, just a couple of finals away, if I pass them, from closing one of the most fortunate and adventurous chapters of my life, and being given the opportunity to give a speech to just some of the people who made it all possible. And I know right now my mom is sitting over there looking at me like, we all knew this would happen. You know, she's like, she will tell you that she always knew that I was destined for greatness, and she claimed this destiny the moment she named me. But my position here tonight doesn't exactly stem from the fact that I had no faith in my mother's contention. It's just, you know, I've always hoped for a future, a destiny that was greater than the people around me, if not the greatest that my mother could imagine for me. I'd hope for a life that would include attending a four-year university and having a stable career and marriage and maybe taking annual vacations. Oh, and having this like really big dog named Twix, you know? But it was hard for me to genuinely believe that, you know, such greatness was in store for me when my community surrounded me with so many examples of how easy and how normal it was to achieve so little in life. In my community, 1 in 50 residents was at risk of falling victim to violent crime in 2015, compared to the state rate of 1 in almost 400 residents. I grew up in a dilapidated and poor post-industrial city where single parenthood was not uncommon, not even for me, where teenage parenthood was not uncommon, where everyone had a male relative who was incarcerated or had been at some point, where drug abuse or gun violence had affected or shook someone's life in some way, where the graduation rates were the lowest in the state, where residents were regularly lulled to sleep by police sirens and the carousel of red and blue lights. And I mean, you get the gist. It was, yeah. So my community is a 15-minute drive from Penn. And up until the age of 16, I had no idea what an Ivy League was. And so I did not know that so much opportunity or the key to achieving this destiny that my mom always talked about was just right over the Delaware River. Needless to say, my transition to Penn was hard, and yet the academics were hard, and leaving home to navigate a new place with new people was hard. But the most challenging thing I had to overcome at Penn was my imposter syndrome, because it made everything that was expected to be hard when you go to college for the first time just so much harder. Imposter syndrome is a psychological concept that describes a person who does not believe they deserve the success they've achieved, despite the overwhelming and obvious evidence validating their competence. My Penn transition began with the pre-freshman program, an academically rigorous 5-week residential program for incoming freshmen from disadvantaged backgrounds. And the PennCap program was supposed to help me feel comfortable and acclimated to Penn resources and connected to students who were like me, but my imposter syndrome just filtered this great opportunity that was presented to me and made me feel so small in this place and amongst these people. I became really discouraged, just easily discouraged by small challenges I faced in class because I just thought I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared to be here. I couldn't catch up to the level of knowledge expected of me. And when I talked to my new friends and they told me about their accomplishments, I didn't feel like I was a part of that group. I was amongst them, but I didn't feel like I belonged there. And so I felt marginalized, and I transitioned into Penn feeling like a fraud and like I wasn't meant to be here amongst all these gifted students. 4 years later, I'm still overcoming my imposter syndrome. At rare times, I still question if I deserve to be in this fortunate position I found myself in. But more frequently, I've learned to give myself credit where it's due. And I could not have begun to overcome this imposter syndrome if it wasn't for the support systems around me that constantly validated my achievements. Thanks to my family, like you, Mom, who have unwavering love and pride for me, and it's just so unconditional, and they've been my cheerleaders from the beginning. And my friends who have peer-edited countless papers for me, including this one I'm reading, and helped me laugh through the hardest times, and my counselors and mentors who have imparted so much wisdom to me, and to my donors who had enough confidence in my ability to succeed to invest in my future before I even saw the possibility in it. Thanks to all of these people, I have learned to cultivate confidence and pride in myself and my success. The highlights of my time at Penn have definitely been my experiences abroad. In 2016, I left the country for the first time, and I interned at an orphanage in the US Embassy in Nepal. And I was really afraid to leave. I was so comfortable here in my little urban space, and I was nervous to go to a rural, developing country. But I'm so glad I did, because I learned cultural competency and discovered passion and interests that would have remained idle if I had just stayed in my comfort zone. Additionally, last year, I studied in Australia for a semester, and that was the first time I lived on my own. Like I said, I'm 15 minutes away, so last week I was like, Mom, I'm sick, and she was like, okay, I'll bring some Mucinex on Tuesday. But there was none of that in Australia. I was really on my own, and I was so scared. I was so nervous. But once again, I'm really glad I was brave enough to do it, because I learned responsibility and accountability and how to surf. I want to throw that out there. I did learn a little bit. Without my support systems, I wouldn't even have had the bravery and the confidence to pursue these literally terrifying experiences for me. And so I would have just let the fear of failure stop me from achieving what have been the best experiences of my life, and at Penn, definitely. As I conclude my time at Penn, I'm proud to say that I'll be teaching secondary English in the Teach for America Baltimore Corps. Thank you. Thank you. I'm on a path to a career in education administration. I plan to use my experiences to renovate Camden's education system and revamp our graduation rate. I want to show the youth in my city that education is the most valuable tool they have to mobilize their lives. With adequate pre-collegiate education, amazing parents who plant the seed of dreams that are achievable, well-funded transition programs like PennCap, institutional leaders like Amy Gutman who want to make room for disadvantaged, gifted students, and donors who see potential in these students that they may not see in themselves yet. Like you, we can work together to eradicate imposter syndrome. Thank you for your time.